Welcome Pisces to your in-depth monthly forecast for August 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. I'm going to share the event chart right at the start of the month shortly on screen, but before I do, I just want to tell you about a very special opportunity. If you order your unique personal horoscope for year 2025 now, I'll give you the rest of year 2024 free, plus you'll get 30% off and also your life roadmap report. Please see the link beneath this video so you can check this out. If you know your tropical astrology really well, why not check out my draconic version? Same offer, the rest of this year free, all of 25, plus your draconic character analysis, and also 30% off. On the screen now, I'm sharing your event chart right at the start of the month. We need to be mindful of your current residence, and that is Saturn and Neptune. They're both in retrogrades, and they're both forging influential angles as this month begins. Saturn with Jupiter, your traditional ruler, and Neptune with the Moon. Now, Jupiter and the Moon are both in the part of your situation, along with Mars, which is very much to do with where you live, how you live there, your home, emotional environment, how you feel about things. And particularly having the Moon there, linking back to Neptune in your sign, suggests you are going to feel at times this month really very sensitive. And finding the right balance between what you need in your inner world, the fourth house, with what you want to achieve in terms of your personal aims can be thrusting into the wider world. That could be a little tender. Saturn in that area for the last 15-16 months has been asking you to really free yourself up from anything other than the core strands in your situation. So simplify your life. So even if you do want to achieve things, perhaps a home improvement, perhaps some do-it-yourself, it's important not to give yourself too much on your plate this month, Pisces. But as the month begins, the Sun in the sixth house, very much about being virtuous, and that's forging and energized, and that's in a very good link with Mars in that fourth house. So if you did want to make some changes to where you live, as long as you don't overburden yourself, give yourself some achievable targets. So write a list and work on the things that are essential, but don't overburden yourself, then you can get stuck in. There's also a link with Venus in your sixth house, also Leo, in a square with Uranus. If you did need to talk about something, perhaps to do with your work, you could come up with actually a very good solution, perhaps working part-time at work, part-time at home. Some kind of flexibility around your professional situation might call out to you. Of course, Venus in the sixth house can be about professional relationships, but it also can still be about relationships. Is there someone that you do connect to in your everyday world that's taken your fancy a little bit? It could become more obvious as this month goes on, not least because of Venus moving into your sector of relating on the 5th. But before that happens, I want to tell you about the super energized link between the Sun and Mars and the Sun and Jupiter at the start of this month. So as long as you don't give yourself too much to do, you can take some very positive steps around your home situation. And that feeds into the new moon of the 4th. For example, if you wanted to make some changes to your diet or exercise regime, it's possible that someone within your family can give you some really good advice, or perhaps you're going to be guided more by your emotional instincts. Anything to do with making yourself feel safer and more secure is going to appeal to you. If moving altogether is on your tick list, as Mars and Jupiter close up together and achieve a conjunction by the 14th, you're going to be very motivated to make this happen. But as I mentioned, on the 5th, Venus moves into probably its best location in its entire rotation for you by moving into the sign of Virgo. Now, there's a slice of irony here because Venus in Virgo is not its personal best position, but for you it gives you the opportunity to let go of a few things that aren't quite perfect, to celebrate the relationships you have, even if there are some things that are not quite as you would like. One of the things that Venus in the 7th house asks us to do is let's celebrate the things we have in common. Let's build bridges, not walls. But on the 5th, ironically, the double irony is that Mercury, the planet of communication, does go into a retrograde. Perhaps the combination of these two, which come into an exact conjunction on the 8th, is asking you to rethink your approach to relationships in general. Maybe you have been a little bit caught up in wanting things exactly as you would like, which is entirely understandable. We can all have that. But sometimes people are as they are, and that isn't always perfect. So there's an opportunity to work on things. But your expectations could be quite high with Mercury meeting up with Neptune in an opposition at the heart of this month, and also Venus going into an opposition with Saturn. Now, if you're in a relationship that isn't working at all well, that really could be a break point, to be honest. And maybe the combination between Mars and Jupiter on the 14th can be a prod, a little bit of a nudge to you to think about, could you go your own way, find your own home if you've been cohabiting and it really has got very sticky. But I wouldn't rush to any judgments. Venus is still asking you to try to find those commonalities, but Saturn could see you being a bit of a stickler about what's not quite working for you. If you have been getting to know someone new recently, for example, then perhaps you may find yourself wanting to retreat into what you feel comfortable with and not necessarily wanting to extend in building up the tie. You may not necessarily want to finish it in that case, just have a little bit of space to think. Your professional situation comes back into astrological focus from the 15th as Mercury inverses back into your 6th house. Something to do with an appointment. You may need to rejig or rearrange from the 15th through to the 28th. Could be a bit frustrating, that. May even be linked to a pet, but actually, as things turn out, it can work for you. The 19th sees a conjunction between the retreating Mercury and the Sun, a cazimi. It's an inferior conjunction, but a great chance to think about work, for example. Are you in the role you really want? Are there new people you could connect to? If your professional relationships are not great, that's really going to show up around the full moon of the 19th. It's not that people will necessarily tell you how they feel. It's possible that you'll find out from someone else how someone feels, with Uranus intersecting both the Sun and the Moon in a T-square, which could be irritating. But then there's a chance from the 22nd to start all over, build a new alliance, perhaps even move to a different opportunity. The 28th sees Mercury go direct. You'll get the clarity you need around a practical work matter from that point. The 29th can be great for you in terms of finance. Something to do with your past, could be a legacy, an inheritance, maybe something you've saved towards, maybe a pension product. You can have some kind of payout towards the end of this month and the early part of September, which can really delight you. The planetary influences at the end of August are very strong in terms of where you've invested in the past and people now appreciating that, or you getting some kind of payout for the provisions that you've been carefully and patiently putting away over that period of time. So it is true that with Jupiter and Mars in your 4th house, you're going to want to be busy around your home situation, but I wouldn't overburden yourself. There is an opportunity to relate well to people from the 5th, but I feel as we get into the middle of the month, the Mercury retrograde, the opposition to Neptune, Venus going opposite Saturn, is a real test to see whether a relationship can really stand the course of time. But clarity comes at the end of this month for sure. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. About 50% of people who watch my videos are not subscribers. Please help the channel to grow by clicking that sub button and also that bell notification symbol. And please check out that special offer below.